farm off. Mountain back to Atlantic Ocean. Upon me hills, to country. To educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah. Focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Hey. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Yeah. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Yeah. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to election night in Liberia. This is Focus on Liberia, and my name is Dennis Jah. As you may know, elections took place today in Liberia, except for some parts of the country, including my own hometown, where the elections will be held tomorrow. I think we're not satisfied, we're going to protest. But let me welcome Glendy on elections night. Glendy Juniors, welcome. That's the independent Glendy. Welcome, Glendy.
Thanks, Dennis. It's good to be here. Happy elections night to everybody.
Thank you. Let me also welcome Mr. Alex 909 Coffee. He is a co-host on our program FOL Marketplace. Mr. Coffee, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and hello to all the panelists and as well as people in Liberia Decide Land.
Thank you. Let me welcome a member of the ANC/CPP, Mr. Alexander. Sorry, Anthony Day. Anthony was running to be senator in Grand Jury, but just like Ben Finn, he bowed out before the elections. But he is a supporter of Mr. Cummings and the CPP. Mr. Gay, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good evening to everyone, and good evening to our people back home.
Thank you. Let me welcome another FOL co-host here, Mr. Jimmy Eastman, who is from the nation's capital here. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. Just as we anticipated, the elections were quite a phenomenon, and I think we have a lot to be proud of.
Thank you. Last and definitely not the least, let me welcome Mr. Jah Nimne Blamo. He is a former secretary of PAL in Buchanan, also president of the Grand Crew Association, Delaware Valley chapter. Mr. Blamo, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. It's a pleasure being on, and we are very proud of what's going on in our country today. And it was a very peaceful election, and we hope that the situation continue to be safe and peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me welcome all our viewers from across the globe to elections night in Liberia. Well, please share the show, invite a friend, and let's discuss. Let me start by saying, I know all of you, today is election and we all feel some kind of way. Let me get your initial reaction to what took place today in Liberia. We have spent a lot of time talking about elections, and today is the day. Mr. Alex Coffey, give me your first impression of the day today.
Yeah, thank you. My first impression of the day is we had a show, even though I got a situation, but on election analysis, on Focus on Liberia Marketplace. I think the election is streaming towards, it's too close to call, but it's streaming towards some of the predictions. But the good thing is the turnout was good. Historically, our turnout has been around 75% from 2005 to 2017. And we are hoping that it will be around 80, plus or minus 80% this time. And then likely it was peaceful, and we are hoping that nothing will happen.
Are you sure? Are you sure the turnout has been 75? I thought it was like 35, 40.
No, on 2005 it was 75.9, 74.9, 2011 75.2, and 2017 75.2.
Oh, okay. I think I was talking about not the presidential elections. In between, they have been very low. But thank you for that information.
No, I'm talking about the presidential and I mean the entire election, and I'm talking about first round, not second round.
Right. Let me go to Mr. Anthony Gay. Mr. Gay, the elections. Come on, Anthony. Mr. Blamo, election day today. What's your impression?
My impression, this our election compared to the rumors and the fear mongering was very impressive. You know, elections in Africa are marked by violence, death. In Ghana, 8 people die. In Kenya, 1 official died. And in Liberia, we have a relatively peaceful election. Basically, the factors that make a free and fair election are the independence of the election commission, the strong judiciary, the independent press and access to the press, and independent election observers. So far, about 75% of these qualities exist in this election. We still question the independence of our judiciary, but it has not been put to test yet. So at this point, I think the election was going on real well.
Thank you. Mr. Anthony Gay.
Yes, Mr. Dennis, Mr. Ja, so far so good. We have not heard of any electoral violence today, even though we have circumstances leading up to this election that is very unacceptable, wherein a young man was stoned to death. But today we have not heard anything of that kind. And the voter turnout today, is very impressive. Early morning, a lot of people, went to the polling places like, as early as 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they were in long queue waiting for the places to open. So I mean, this is something that is very good for our democracy.
Thank you, Glennie.
So I am extremely excited about what I saw today all around. The different polling stations, the number of people. On an average, at one polling station, I heard someone say that they were there from 6 o'clock in the morning, and around 11:30 was when they were able to cast their vote, but they were not weary of the time. They were still encouraged. They wanted to exercise their franchise. They did that. I'm also encouraged by the numbers. What I will say about today's election is it was peaceful. We have not gotten the results yet, so we cannot conclude that it was fair, free, and we can say for the most part the election day was peaceful. And of course, we can compliment the government about that, and also all of the international community and the different observers on the election. We also want to compliment the different political parties, the noise that started way ahead of time to make sure that today would have been peaceful. We want to congratulate everybody on that. And we're looking forward to hearing the results. One of the things I went to bed with last night was seeing the number of women. That is where my excitement is. The number of women that were registered to vote outweigh the number of men. And in 2023, I can clearly say that women probably will be the ones that will make the decision about who becomes the next president of Liberia, because there were more registered women than men in these elections. So I'm excited about today, and I'm excited about the women turnout also.
Thank you. Jimmy.
Wow. Well, just like everybody is saying, we had a peaceful election so far. There were some small incidences, but minor, considering the enormity of the elections. They were minor things. I think this elections, though, as we see the results, we know that President Weah campaigned on infrastructure, his infrastructure record, and the promises he made. And that is what is up to what the voters are going to vote on, whether those promises and infrastructure are sufficient. And we see a large, so far I've seen a large support for the opposition leader, Joe Buckeye. And he principally campaigned on the failure of the current administration. So given the circumstances that we find ourselves in, this is, I think we're just looking at the beginning. And it's going to be interesting if the things continue the way I've seen it, and the incumbent loses. It is going to be remarkable if we have a smooth transition to the next. I think this is an excellent display of democracy in its true form, and I wish to see it continue as it is: peaceful, fair, transparent, with no hitches. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Jimmy, are you jumping the gun?
No, I'm not. I'll be looking at a lot of stats.
And what does stat tell you? Maybe let's go there now.
Okay, the stats are telling you, at least in Monrovia, because the outer counties, the counties beyond Monrovia, have not yet started reporting and counting ballots. They had not come in. But it appears that in the Monrovia, the largest county and the largest voting population, there was a huge support for the Unity Party, a huge support, with CDC coming in second.
I mean, how you know that?
Well, I was able to see the tallies.
All right, we'll come to the tally. I'll come back to you. Let's start our discussion today. What we first saw is, let's talk about the voters' turnout, the time, and the organization, how things were. What did you see? You know, when it comes to how many people turned out, what time the polls opened and closed, and how was it like at from what the footages we saw. So let me start with Mr. Blamo. What's your impression with the voters' turnout, timing, and the organization of the process?
I'm impressed with the organized way people got together to cast their ballots. There were delays in polling places, and the voters show great patience. And I'm impressed that there was not a high report of violence and the intervention of law enforcement in certain areas, and that seemed impressive to me, because Liberian elections is held in a context that falls short of the high expectations and perfect election standards. But the election itself, and the competitive environment, you have people running against a sitting president, and the level of freedom of the press, the access to the press, that is very impressive. It's a step away from regression. is showing our growth as a people. So my whole impression of the turnout, per my observation, was it's impressive. Now the idea that other people have to vote another day, that presents another challenge, and the patience of the people to wait for 4 days or so to get results, that's something else that we have to see. But my impression is that the voting was done fairly well.
Yeah. Glendy, how you see it?
I mean, I share the same sentiments. I think from what we are hearing and what we saw, we can say that yes, things did go on smoothly. Yes, we're hearing some stories here and there. I also heard at one point in time, oh, the ink was finished and all of those things. But for the most part, I think it's unfair that everybody couldn't vote today. But there are so many factors in it that we can say, maybe next time try to do better to make sure. But on the grand scale of things, I think from what we're seeing from the different, I mean, focus on Front Page Africa is like every 30 minutes there were like almost active reporting being done from different precincts, from different areas and stuff. So for the most part, I think today was a good day for Liberia.
I had a focus on Liberia reporter went around Monrovia,
Yes.
and what she saw was the polls. Many of the places she been did not start on time. They said 6. They started a little late, and there was people that she spoke to complained that things were not organized. It took them time. There was nobody. Except in previous elections, people were there to get them in queues, but this time they were doing it themselves. At some places, it was chaotic. Mr. Coffee, let's talk about the organization, the voters turnout, and the time. Did you hear that? What I heard from my reporter?
Yeah, so I follow elections in Liberia from way back, but most recent elections in Liberia, 2005. I was involved. 2011, I was in Liberia. 2017, I was in Liberia, and I took part in the elections. I took part in election analysis and stuff like that. I mean, the trend has been generally the same in terms of organization, in terms of the little skimmages and things that will happen here. Late turnout, we've been concerned about the late opening of pool centers and stuff like that. Also in 2017, there was a situation, I think it was in Lofa or Bapulu, where one polling center did not vote. They had to vote another day. And so these things have been commonplace, and little violence here and there, but not enough to plunge us into a situation that happens in other countries.
Which violence is considered little? Like what?
Like for example, one of the radio stations was reporting people were carrying cutlasses today, and the fact that people die in 2 person die in Lofa, another person die, and then just on Sunday another person die. That's violence, but it is not enough to turn the whole election into a chaotic situation. So the election was organized, I think, largely properly. Yes, there were areas where they were late. There were areas where polling, like in your town, in your hometown, where they have to vote tomorrow. Yeah, those things happen. But generally, on the general scheme of things, I think the organization went well, like other years, and the timing, here and there. But I mean, generally, we'll say that it was organized. And then I also like to appreciate the political parties that that kind of voice out things, the press, even the citizens themselves that voice out things, that came out today, that were vigilant, right? Because there was all this indication about starting from the censor, that things were going to be tempered with, going to election voter room manipulation, where they had to end up in the Supreme Court. And we're talking about voter suppression with the suspicion that there were going to be fear-mongering and stuff like that. But the political parties raised the issues. The citizens themselves became vigilant. and the citizens went out to vote in their numbers. I followed the election. There were queues and queues in almost every county. So people stood in the line for 2-3 hours. Unlike 2017, when I was in Liberia. This year, that's why I said the turnout might be in a around 80% plus or minus, right? Because people stood in the queue. So largely with all that, I think I'm gonna give it to Liberia for this election.
Thank you. Jimmy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the turnout, the time, and my question also on that is, what do you think is responsible for the high turnout that we saw today, and who you think that's going to benefit?
Okay, if you study elections, typically when you see a high turnout, it means the opposition is active. Because high turnout it means the opposition is trying to get people out to vote to make a change. So that's what usually a high turnout signifies. If the incumbent is doing the right things and he looks like a cinch a shoe in to win, there'll be a lower turnout. But when things look like they're a little bit topsy turvy and that a change is needed, that's when you see higher turnout because more and more people want to voice their opinion. Yes, there were some minor incidences. They caught one guy who his body language revealed that something was wrong with him. They found him with a gun. Why would anyone carry a gun to the elections? And there were here and there stories. It's just like Glendy was saying. I think the most disappointing thing about today is, like they said, in Sino County, the votes were, the ballots were wet due to the road issues. They couldn't get there, and so they have to send additional ballots. I think that's the only disappointing part of it, because we won't see their votes until maybe by the end of the week. But everything else seemed to be pretty smooth, regardless of the long waits. But it was pretty smooth. And then, just like somebody just said, I think what Blamo said, there was no need for police intervention in largely. So that is positive. That is something we need to be proud of.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yeah, so far so good as we await, the results. I think today proved that our democracy is gradually improving. The people conducted themselves in the manner and in which that is commending for this kind of turnout. And we really didn't have any significant, electoral violence. This is a blessing to our nation. For me, I was worried with all of the circumstances that preceded before this day, and to have this day go the way it is going smoothly. Hopefully, we'll have a clear and smooth transition to the today. That there will be no report of any electoral violence, and that should be a welcoming news to every Liberian. Prior to today, some of the things that happened, like FOIA, like Ghana's bill, those kind of circumstances that happen, even on young men being stoned to death that I mentioned earlier a few days ago, those things were very, very, very terrifying. So for the way the election turned out today, this is a win-win for Liberia.
So has someone who had been here promoting Mr. Cummings and the CPP, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good. At this moment, I'm feeling very good, and I'm not deterred by anything. There are over 2 million plus people that are registered to vote. If they wait, the turnout is today, that is an encouraging thing for the election. Like Mr. Eastman said, a huge voter turnout where there is an incumbent, that is not good for the incumbent. It always turns out, statistically around the world, it always turns out on the opposition side. So this is a very good day for the opposition political parties in Liberia. If the incumbent does not win, Liberia wins, because this is a very good day for Liberia. So yes, I am very optimistic and I'm very confident, that we will pull some strides. I know people are inboxing me already, oh, we told you and all that different thing, but I'm not deterred by that, because there are over 1.5 million votes yet to be counted, and so we can we can sit here for a long time tonight.
Right. And they've been talking about the silent voters. That's what Mr. Cummings and the CPP were banking on last night on the show. We talk about it. Do you think there were some silent voters going out there today?
Mr. Jai, you'll be surprised. I started calling yesterday evening and early this morning. Folks that's supposed to vote the other side end up voting for us. I was shocked. In Liberia, the book can say, oh, the people already decided that mine is made up. For over 15, 20, 30% to change their mind today and call me back to confirm that, oh, my man, thank you for talking to me. I did X, Y, and Z. I was shocked. I was really shocked. I mean, I've heard this thing that, oh, when Liberia made up a million of mine. And I say, you know what, I'll put this to a test to see how it works. And I was able to do such thing. So, again, they just call it random area. Election, every candidate have their strongholds. Every candidate have area that it will do so well and area that it will do poorly. And, for us, we have counties, we have communities in Monserrato, we have counties outside of Monserrato that we're looking at. If at the end of the day, those results are coming in and we are not putting the number that we anticipated, then we know, we don't stand a chance. But until then, we are optimistic.
Thank you. So at the moment, this is how it stands. This from Duco Institute, and I know the print is small, but you see River G, the voters, that's the least up to Monserrato, the highest. Let me also say that we are not expecting results. According to the NDC timetable, October 10, which is today's election day, October 12 to 24 will be the announcement of provisional results. October 12 to 24, announcement of provisional results, and October 25 will be the last day of announcement of the final results. So tonight we don't have any results, but there are some tally sheets. Some of them may not be official that are coming out, and they are saying something, right? Miss Glendy, what are you hearing? From I know there was no exit polling. I try to do my own exit polling, but what is the general atmosphere? Where are the people leaning? Where is the vote going as per what you are hearing from people on the ground? If there was some exit polling that we can talk about, and some of the tally sheets that are coming out. You are muted.
I talked to a few persons today, and I don't want to be in denial of what I heard. Most of the people that I spoke with, and they happen to be some family members, they actually voted for VP Boyka. Of course, I know people who voted for Cummings, and I know people who voted for President Weah. But most of the people voted for Boyka. I kind of, after work today, I switched to watch Spoon TV. Now, whether the results are accurate or not, majority of the tally sheets that they were reading and talking about was gravitating towards the fact that VP Boyka's scam did very well, based on what we heard. Now, we cannot validate whether it's true or not. I can also say that 2017, the same thing that is being done tonight on Spoon TV, where they were calling all exit sheet, tally sheets. They did that. They also did that in the senatorial race for Darius Dillon. So those things we can look and say there's a trend. The same trend they did 2017 and they did for Dillon, they're doing it now tonight, where they're calling preliminary numbers based on where tally sheets that they may have had pictures of from the different polling stations or copies of. But from what we're hearing, from what I'm hearing today, is that that I think the UP camp, I can say that the UP camp did pretty well. And that just goes back to say, like, this election today, I think it's a referendum to speaking against bad leadership and against your record. And in the end, if in the end, if President Weah does not win, it should send a message that once you ascend to a position and you're there representing the people, you have to do what's best for the people. So this is a referendum today, and based on what I'm hearing, it seems that VP Barker did very well. His scam did very well.
Right. Let me bring
yeah, I would like to say something, because the first speakers mentioned that the incumbent will lose. Now the second speaker is saying that this election seems to be lost for the current president. I don't know whether we should go that far, because when I look at my own list, I saw that CDC and Boyka were tied, and in some places maybe it's a CDC
list. What list?
The list from one of the stations.
Oh, the tally sheet.
Yeah, the tally sheet that saw it showed that there was a up and down between CDC and UP, and at this point I'm leaning towards the possibility that they will both come up around the same thing, like between 30 and between 30 and 40%. They will not be 51, where there will be a first round victory. So I hesitate to say that there is a clear indication here that the current leader is losing the election. And as one of our panelists said, there are over 1.5 million votes still out there. So I think we should carefully use the language based on the number of reportings that we have, and the reporting we have is not 20%.
So, but Dennis, let me just come back to Mr. Blamo. What the question was, it was individualistic based on what you are hearing. So based on what you are hearing, how you want to interpret it, it's up to you. How I want to interpret based on what I heard and what I saw, that's up to me. So, and then we're all not going based on facts. I can say based on what I'm hearing, based on what I saw, I can say what I'm hearing, who is gravitating towards, but we have no facts there, because NEC is the only one that's going to say to us, this is what the trend is, this is who's leading. We're not going to hear it until 3 or 4 days. So we can improvise with what we've seen and make suggestions.
Again, they are, according to the NEC, according to their timetable, October 12 to 24 will be the announcement of provisional results, and October 25 will be the final result. Let me welcome Mr. Garkan Moore. Garkan, welcome to the show. It's been a while.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you for the invite, and it's an honor to be a part of this platform tonight as we discuss the issue of election in Liberia.
Is that Garçon or Garcon?
And Garcon is, but he's the American now, so they say
Garcon.
Okay.
I'm not Garçon.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So Garcon, I'm going to be American now. Guy can. What's your impression of the elections, and what are you tally sheets, exit polls? What are you reading?
It's interesting, and it's still is disheartening to know that we are in this is 2023, and we're still waiting until the 25th to get an election result, when this can be easily and quickly done as possible. The same night of the election, I think, with the challenges that's in our country, I think with some of the bright minds that are in the diaspora, or maybe even in Liberia, can have a quick resolution to this. I think this is something that NEC needs to work on. But going back to, there has been a lot of numbers being shared and pictures being taken and sending out to people and things like that. To me, I'm still waiting for official statements. I don't like the because we cannot verify these numbers. A lot of these polling exit polls that are coming out, what metrics they are using, what's the margin of errors and things of that nature. We do not know that. So a lot of people saying that based on the exit poll, they're doing good, they're likely to win this district and things like that. But I await the official tally from the NEC.
Thank you, Mr. Coffee. Today I was doing my own exit poll, and these are mainly friends and family members. I spoke to one in Lofa, one in Buchanan, and like 10 in Monserrato or Monrovia area, right? And but before I give my own exit polls, the people I spoke to, what are you hearing? Where is it trending? And let us not forget Monserrato. If you're using Monserrato, definitely, normally we know how Monserrato goes. Alex, what are you hearing?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, for me, generally it will be too close. It will be too early for me to make a prediction. But like I said, I've done this thing. I did my own. For 2023, I did my own calculations. I did that in 2005, 2011, 2017. In fact, in 2017, when I did my numbers, they were so close. And I said, my conclusion was, whoever in the election is going to go to the second round. Whoever Prince Johnson endorses wins the election. And Prince Johnson endorsed CDC, and CDC won the election. So I've done the same thing for 2023. So I'm counting on my numbers based on the historical data and based on what is going on in the country. Now, I will piggyback on something that Anthony said in terms of the silent voters. Yes, the silent voters do work because in 2005, the second round, it was the silent voters that made Ellen win the election. And the silent voter has a place in this election, and they can go anywhere. That's what we call when you call the swing people or whatever you call it in America.
Swing vote, yeah.
Yeah, the swing vote. Now, coming back to Gagron.
The silent voters and the swing voters are two different groups.
The swing counters. I would call it swing counters.
Yeah, swing counters.
Yeah, in this case, the silent voters. The silent voters are silent, and they are determined that this person is not going to win or this person is going to win. And they have a voice behind the scene, and they control a lot. So they are very important, in fact, in the second round. All right? Now, coming to what Gagon was saying, in Liberia, the elections, the way the election is done, the tally sheets are the ones after the ballot is counted. After the close of the poll, the ballots are counted in the presence of the poll watcher and the observers. They are counted loudly, and they are recorded on the tally sheets. And the election people and the party representatives, especially I think the two highest or the three highest poll people sign it. A copy of that is posted on the wall. That's the picture that they take and they send to their various centers, to the radio station. Now, one of the radio stations that is reporting, I mean, there are two collaborations that are reporting, is the OKFM and the Prime FM. Other radio stations are reporting. These people are funded by the USAID. So I tend to put reliance on what they're saying out there. But for me, it's still yet close. I mean, it's still yet early. I can only do my trend when it reaches about 10% of the vote or more, or maybe by Thursday, then I can make a determination. However, from what I'm hearing on the radio stations and people I'm talking to, it seems to be a seesaw battle. But what I can say here is in some area across the country where Unity Party has 200 and something, CDC comes second, largely with a wide margin. Where CDC comes first, Unity Party comes second with a smaller, relatively smaller margin, and then ANC coming third, but with a a distant third. That's what I'm seeing so far.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. It's a bit early to tell. because they're, I think, but the large part of Monrovia, I think they have, what was it, 50% of the vote total, and they have a different mentality. I believe Monrovia people think differently than the other counties. I was reading the other day that in the rural areas, a lot of times the incumbent has more control over there because they can exact a lot of force on them and influence because they are not near the capital. So, looking at the capital alone is not enough to tell a telling sign, but it is clear that, for me, it is clear that we're going to see a runoff. That is almost clear to me. I do not see anybody winning straight out, not at all, not at this rate, anyway.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
So if because given the amount of candidates that are running, if Prince Johnson is not running and he endorses Joseph Boakai, and being that Prince Johnson is a major factor in NIMA, and Joseph Boakai and the Unity Party are also another major factor in the election, ANC, I'm not even counting them because I don't know where the numbers are. I don't know what county they can win because they have yet to win one representative seat in any election in Liberia. So I don't know what factor they play. So given George Weah, all the other smaller candidates that are running, because none of us are, a lot of these conversations that we're having, we're not mentioning a lot of these other candidates. So are we saying that they're not a factor in these elections because you're saying runoff? So who's going to trigger that runoff? Would it be Alexander coming? Because I'm not seeing how possible that would be. Because like I said, the ANC has yet to prove to the Liberian people that they can win a representative seat in the country in any elections. So how would that be election when Prince Johnson has already endorsed Joseph Boakai?
But
the whole NIMA should go for Joseph Boakai.
So are you saying there will be one round because there will be no runoff because Prince Johnson endorsed Joseph Boakai? Is that what you are implying?
I mean, Prince Johnson is a major factor since I've been observing Liberian election. He's a major factor. If he is endorsing Joseph Boakai, and Joseph Boakai got a candidate from that county, and he also a major factor in the elections in all of the counties, how is it possible for there to be a runoff? Like, are we counting all the other candidates? Do we think they're going to pull some numbers? Because none of us are mentioning those other candidates that are running.
Can I tell me on that question, Mr. Jai, if I may?
Hold on, let Glennie go first. And you guys
I think we have to consider we cannot erase the Gonglo factor in Nima County. So whereas he may not be as powerful as Prince Johnson, there will still be some votes. And I think that is the reason why we can almost surmise that there will be a runoff, not even counting the other people. But when you get to Nima County and you probably get to Lofa County, there may be some division of votes there that may not give a clear winning to Ambassador Boakai, where those other candidates will come in. But I don't think it's from what we're seeing and the fact that we're seeing just based on what we're hearing now. And you can do a sample from the numbers you have now and say, based on the numbers, whatever numbers we have now, based on this sample, this is what we're seeing. If the incumbent is doing so poorly, based on what we're seeing, we can say that definitely a Cummings may not be able to go above Weah. So that will lead us to say we can probably conclude that there will be a runoff between Weah and Boakai, depending on what the numbers are showing right now. But I don't think we're going to erase Gonglo or even Moniba, because I think there's still a factor in this race to get. They may not get a lot, but they may be able to get some votes.
Anthony?
Yeah, but some
yes, well, I want to help my brother.
Excuse me, Anthony. Some vote could be 10 votes.
So here's the thing, right?
No, I'm talking, Anthony, excuse me. Anthony, excuse me. Glendy was saying they may get some vote, but some vote may be 10 votes.
Which is true, but we cannot right now erase them until we can see some preliminary numbers coming from those counties. Then we can say, oh yes, we can clearly say the Prince Johnson factor is a serious factor. But until that time, where we have nothing coming from those counties, there's no way we can surmise that they are a zero or that they don't have a factor in these elections. I think they still do, and that's why I also feel that we will go to a runoff.
So if I'll piggyback on what Mara was saying, if, for example, with the support of Prince Johnson, if UP wins Nimba County 70%, there's still 30% to go around.
Which is true.
And that 70% is strong enough, because if you note that Nimba County has 370,000 votes as compared to all the 6 counties of the Southeast where CDC is strongest. It's 307 equal, just the little thousand difference, but 307,000. So the person who wins 70% of Nimba can overturn everything that goes on in the Southeast.
Yeah, but and what's the exit polls we're getting from Nimba? So we don't.
I'm judging from my analysis.
I was going to speak to that.
We don't have any.
I'm just judging from my analysis,
right? So,
not the exit poll.
So I don't know where he got his analysis from, but let me say this, Mr.
I got it from my computer, Anthony.
Go ahead, Anthony.
That's what many people are forgetting in this election. First of all the numbers that have been presented so far, all the tally sheet that Spoon Talk is reading from and all of that, they are yet to amount to 10% of the total vote of Liberia today. That is a fact, right? It is yet to reach 10%. Are you saying Joseph Boaka today already got 100,000 votes based on the number you saw? No. He has not even amounted to 50,000 votes yet. So here's what I want people to do. Be patient. You will get to that point. You will do all of your cross analysis and all of that different thing. To gargle a point that, you're not hearing anything about ANC because ANC, or let's say CPP, because there's no ANC in this race this time around. CPP, in 2017, we did not win a single article representative seat. That's true. But the party has evolved. The party has evolved.
Anthony, I think you have a senator, right?
They have yet to win any elections.
But
any
correct.
elections.
I'm not arguing that point, brother.
Okay.
I already gave you that.
No. Actually, Moe, they have won before, but that's not a point. They have won.
That is a major point, because you cannot be declared a political
No, but
party.
Anthony, ANC has one person in one of the houses.
Hey, man. Why are we having conversation? Mr. Job, please take control of the show.
Go ahead, Anthony.
You're speaking here. We gave you the opportunity to express yourself without any sort of interruption. Can you accord that courtesy to each speaker on the platform tonight, please?
Okay, go ahead.
So here's the point I'm making here. 2017 record is 2017 record. We did not win a single seat. That is true. But after that point, the party has evolved. The party has collaboration. The party has expanded. So today, if Grand Bastard numbers start coming in and I start seeing certain numbers, if my giving numbers start coming in and start seeing certain numbers, if Riverside numbers start coming in and start seeing certain numbers, if Maryland numbers start coming in and start seeing certain numbers that we are not meeting that expectation, then I can say, oh yes, this thing we didn't do well. But until then, I have to wait for the number to come in. We have not yet counted 10% of the national vote. So sitting here, other people will skew their report based on the party alignment. And that is what is happening right now. So until then, wait for the official result. The tally sheet will always turn 99.9% of the time the tally sheet number and the number on NEC website always correspond. Why? Because that final sheet, when NEC worker and the pool watcher, the observer, sign that paper is on an official document. However, it may not be the official report for NEC, but it's most likely the number that will reflect on it. But until we start seeing the percentage, if they get 60% of the national talent or 80%, and we're still not, surpassing, 15, 20%, they would not stand a chance in this race.
Right.
But when you reach that point,
we have conducted some exit polls in some counties like Bassa, Lofa, and Monserrate today.
Yeah.
So, like there were FOL reporters, and so the exit polls in Monserrate, or mainly the Monrovia area, Lofa, and Grand Bassa had the Unity Party ahead.
Okay.
There was in Monserrate, there was one person who lived in West Point that took CDC, one person Nuclear ANC, and the rest around the Monserrate, the Monrovia area were all Unity Party.
Okay.
I don't know what that means because that was a very small sample size. So I can't independently and outright quote that has been anything to go by.
I would like to come in on that because I took a poll of my cousins on the Oro and CDC was leading. So the point I want to make is that and we have given Prince Johnson 70% with less than 5% of the reporting, and we already having a discussion that Prince Johnson could have 70%.
No,
and
one
then we have
that Blamo, one
we have zero comments to maybe 10 votes. I think we are treading dangerous territory here because basically
that's one person's opinion. So it's not.
Yeah, but
you keep saying we are.
Well, that I was high under the weed, okay. But at this point, I feel that the imperative of keeping the peace and security create pressure on all of the voters to work intensively to avoid negative trend. There is a Prince Johnson factor, and Prince Johnson is considered a hero, a savior, and he's also considered a warlord, and he's sanctioned. So for us to assume that those factors will not play, then in Nima County there is a gonglo, a man of substance who can effectively rule this country, and we're gonna assume that gonglo would be a no factor. I think we're wrong. Then we have a commis, a candidate to contend with, who the party has evolved, and we already singing victory song for UP. I think we need to take a step back because I believe that Prince Johnson will not win 70% of Nima County. I think Gonglo will do very well and come close to affecting that number. I think that Cummings will be a dividing line. A Cummings can take 20% of the votes and make it a factor. So I think we have a long waiting period yet. That's my view.
Thank you.
If I may come in, and this is, I mean, we're just having a conversation about election, but my goal is just for future trends in our elections. I think there's a need for us to set certain criteria on who we want to see as our leaders. And I think, as I believe we all live in the U.S., we see people that once in a while you see a celebrity may come in, but that celebrity have a very distinct record of leadership, right, or wherever they've been. So we're looking at the Cummings, the Bwaka, the Gonguro, right? Like, we have to make sure that our leaders have some type of steps. Like, okay, Gonguro been in this country for so many years. I don't think he's a factor in the election, for one. And he has yet to challenge any illegal activities during the Ellen-led Sirleaf government, during Gongolo have the trained lawyers. You have the move, like leading a movement, bringing things to the Liberian public. Gongolo don't even do that. So now just to jump and go straight to the presidency and say I don't think Gongolo is a factor. And I'm saying that to say that we need to set certain boundaries. Like we got the vice president, Joseph Boakai. He was in leadership. He led. We got Alexander Cummings. He was at Coca-Cola. He led group of leaders and at a high level. Even George Weah, he's not one of those. He jumped this because of his status as celebrity. But Liberians, hopefully in the future election, we can set these guidelines on who becomes our leader. There are other people that are running, like the Moluba guy. I got turned off of him because he proclaimed himself to be the most educated Liberian to have ever ran for the office. When we had in 2017 we had Dr. Mill Jones. We had a bunch of educated Liberians that ran for office, but he proclaimed that as someone who has done that. So I think Gongolo, hopefully he is a factor with his ethnic people, but on a national level, I don't think people know Gongolo like that, So that's just my issue on him.
Right.
But hopefully he can deliver.
All politics is local politics.
Hold on, Blanco, because Gakon, you it's like you are campaigning, but that's over now.
I know.
Yeah. That's why I said future elections.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's be later.
The elections took place today, so we want to kind of gauge the numbers. Go ahead, Oblamo.
I believe that the speaker was campaigning, and all politics is local politics, and now we talk about percentages. And Gongolo has a very strong history of fighting for the poor, for standing up for the rights of the marginal people. Gongolo has been in jail. Gongolo has stood up for issues, and the absence of money is his problem. And to say that Gongolo has not stood up for any issue in this country is so sad. Is very sad. That's not the Gongolo we know. And if Gongolo can split Nima County even by taking 20%, which I believe he can, and we can have Moluba, who you say is a turnoff. Moluba is a very educated person, and I'm relative to Mr. Mills. I won't put him down. Moluba is the son of a vice president, and he's also from Lofa County.
Mr. Blanco, let us not go down this campaign route.
I think we're campaigning
All that is
now.
over now.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All that, we talk that since 2022, right? 2022. So now it's elections night. And
so Mr. Dennis,
yeah.
I want to go back to something Mr. Blamo said that I find a bit disingenuous when he talked about Prince Johnson. So all of those things he said about Prince Johnson was not concerning in 2017 when Prince Johnson was for Weah. Why is it concerning now?
Right.
Liberians,
but Glendy, how does that affect the numbers tonight? We're talking
because I hear about tonight because he is saying he is trying to say that Prince Johnson factor doesn't matter. It does.
Let that one go, right?
Yeah.
It does. Prince Johnson is a factor whether we like it or not. And
So
the people of Nima County recognizes him and recognizing as a factor. So
point of correction. I didn't say Prince Johnson is not a factor. He is.
No, you name the fact that he was sanctioned. You name that he was a warlord, but why did those things not come when he was on the side of George Weah? Why did he not at that time?
Those things counted. It impacted the election differently. It counted, but it impacted the election differently. Okay, Prince Johnson, who are run for president, why is he not running for president?
Okay. Maybe he doesn't want to
counted.
be president.
He cannot win. He cannot win.
He's still a factor.
Yeah, he is a factor.
He's a factor.
My question here is tonight, whether Prince Johnson is a factor or not, what are the numbers coming out of Nimba because of Prince Johnson?
Just
Let
send
me
you some
start.
numbers from Nima. I just send you some numbers from Nima.
Right. And how these numbers impact the election. That's what we are talking about tonight. Campaign is over. So whatever the people believe about Manimba, whatever they believe about Gonglo or Prince Johnson, they have already cast their vote. And that's what we are discussing tonight. Some exit polls that are coming out that we saw as unofficial, they may be.
Oof.
Yeah, you may not be able. This one gives 77 to CPP and no, not CPP, UP, and 315 to WIA, with a total of 413. There are a lot of zeros there. We see Cummins with 7. That's one poll. Another one here gave 171 to the UP and 154 to the CDC. Cummins coming fourth and four votes, and Gonglo 2. So far, the thing about these tally sheets is as long as they snap them at these polling stations, they're true. But what do they represent? That's just a very tiny piece. Mr. Coffee.
Yes, these are the tally sheets, like I said earlier in response to Cargon. These are the tally sheets that are taken to collected and taken to the Election Commission, and the Election Commission do their own whatever certification process, and then they announce these numbers. Historically, since 2005, I have not seen a major deviation away from these exit polls as compared to what the Election Commission produces as the official votes. Right. So again, I said I will be careful. While the student I'm listening, I have listening, and I'm still listening to the numbers that are coming out of the local radio station. I've listened a little bit to Spoon. I've listened a little bit to from I've listened to a little bit, but my main reliance is on OKFM and Prime FM. I'm listening to them, but because it's not come yet. So unless, like, you show me one tally sheet right now, right? CDC is having this huge number, and UP is having that number. At other places, Unity Party is having this huge number. And so, but these are bits and pieces of things that are coming in. I am safe. I told myself that by Thursday, and as we're on this thing, I'm receiving numbers and arguing with people. Somebody tell me, say, oh, I did my analysis, that's the facts. I said, no, that is not the facts. The facts can only come from the voter tally sheet and the Election Commission. So everything else we do, including myself, is all subjective, right? But we've done this from time to time. For example, based on analysis, based on performance, based on historical performance, the CDC has always done well in the Southeast. And this year, in my analysis, the CDC is bent to carry the Southeast once more. But there's some caveat, according to my preliminary analysis. They can carry Grand G there, maybe around 70-something%. Sino County, maybe around between 55 to 65%. Grand Cru as well.
My exit poll from Sino didn't say that.
But there's a tough battle in River G. I mean, in River G, there will be a tough battle in River G, and there will be a tough battle in River Cess.
But Mr. Coffee,
yes,
those county don't that. Well, what's the population? Like, how many people live in Sano, Grand G? Like, what's the population? 0.002%.
Like I said, all of them combined, those 6 counties I'm talking about, all of them combined together, they are equal to Nimba alone.
No way.
No, that is 307%. 307%.
The population of those counties does not equal to
voter population. Voter population.
The voters. We have the number
of 2.4 million people. If you add all the 6 of eastern counties, it's equal to 307 307,000, and Nimba County is equal to the same 307,000. The exact number for 307,265, and Nimba County alone is 307,254.
And our Gongo 10%. CDC win.
All right. And we always talk about these counties, but don't forget this is not Electoral College. So everybody counts.
That's what I'm saying. But like I said, CDC, besides the Southeastern County in this election, and I use the may with a capital May, CDC may not win, according to my analysis, CDC may not win any other county. They will come second tier in other counties. I'm putting ANC to do well in Maryland County. I'm putting ANC to do well. They may not come first, but to do well in Riverside and Bassa. They may not come first, but they may do well in. They tend, according to my analysis, they tend to come first. They may tilt because in 2007 they came about 22% in Maryland County. And with the new phenomenon that's going on, there's a possibility that they may with a capital letter, they may win or come second in Maryland. Same situation in Riverside and Bassa. I mean, Bassa and Riverside, they may not come first. Second, third, thereabout.
All right. So are we...
Anthony happy now. Anthony laughing.
Based on the preliminary results...
No, I'm not laughing because...
Hold on. Based on the preliminary results coming out now, the tally sheets, the exit polls, are we surprised? Is there any surprise?
There is no surprise.
No.
I believe that UP and CDC will come and go for a second round. There is no surprise. The surprise thing is the underestimation of Gonglo, of Cummings, is too severe. And the underestimation of the fact that collectively, and 20% here, 20% there, 20% here, you gave you allow to Bon and Magibi, it can come up to an equal amount of votes that UP can gather across the line. Even if UP win every other county, CDC can match them. That's where I'm surprised that people are not reading that CDC can actually match UP in this election. Because I'm looking at the factor of Donald Trump. There's zero people out that George Weah would never win any election in Liberia. Donald Trump believed that there was no way he could win an election. And they have sold the rhetoric around that CDC will have a miserable failure. They're not going to have that kind of failure. I'm afraid that it's going to set people off. So we got to be careful in our analysis. That's my point of view.
Right, that's your point. Okay.
Mr. Blamo, let me
hold on, Alex.
Hang on. Let me put it there.
Alex, hang on.
Blamo, CDC had...
Alex, hang on. There's a call that you should disclose yourself. Sam Wallow is calling. So is there anyone here besides Mr. Anthony Gills, or CPP supporter? Are you leaning on any political party? Let me start with Glendy. Are you supporting any of the candidates? If you were in Labro, you were going to be voting for one of them.
If I was in Liberia, I would be voting for one of them.
No. What is your political leaning?
Right now, based on what the numbers are showing?
No, your own political leaning. Do you support any of the candidates in the race?
I'm in opposition. I support all the opposition candidates.
You can support. Do you have any one person that you support in the race?
Right now in the race, I don't have one person that I support.
Thank you, Mr. Blamo.
I believe that you would know that I believe that we should be nationalists.
I want the audience to know.
My philosophy is we should be nationalists, regardless of political parties.
Do you support any candidate in the race?
I'm telling you what I support. I support the Liberian people.
No, that's too political. It's just a yes or no. Do you support any of the political leaders or the candidates?
It's very possible that I believe that the messages of the different candidates didn't impress me. I believe that CDC had the power to move on their promise of empowerment of the people. That would have been a very effective message to win the election.
You don't support any of the candidates. Let me go to Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee,
Mr. Dennis, Mr. Jar, I represent Focus on Liberia. I think we should be able to. We are all human beings. We all have size in everything. Even the people that report for CNN have size. But if you come to this analysis, you should take all your partisan hat and should be analytical in these things, and that's the position I have, representing Focus on Liberia and with an independent mind.
Gakan.
No, I do not. I do not support any of the candidates.
Good.
I think none of them are fit to lead Liberia. If I were to vote in the election,
all 20 of them.
No, if I saw the names in front of who would I vote for, I may more than likely, I don't know, that's going to be based on me looking at their platform, but I do not support any other candidate.
You said all 20 of them, none of them qualify?
I don't even know the 20 candidates' names, to be honest with you. To be honest. I mean, I was actively involved in 2017 election, and some of the candidates too there, I think there are great Liberians that are running.
You so support Bill Jones, 2017.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I would have supported him. Yeah.
He don't like Gonglo. You don't like Gonglo. You don't like Cummings.
No, I like Cummings. I just feel like Cummings since 2017 has not proven that he's a able-bodied candidate. Like they haven't won any election. Yeah, I don't think you're a political party if you don't win election. So I'm not hating on Cummings. I just feel like the ANC itself is not a party. No election, no voice in the House of Representatives, the House of Senate. What are they doing?
ANC,
it's not fair. So
what? Need one election that ANC won. No, don't help me.
It comes with growth now. It comes with growth.
Yeah.
The first time in 2017, they're growing.
No, first time
they came 7.5% nationally. That's growth. Okay. In the NIMA we're talking about, they came 6% NIMA as compared to 6%.
So have they won any seat? There have been several elections, by-elections.
So let me help you now, Gago. After the 2017 election, where the ANC at the time...
No, we're not talking about 2017. They didn't win anything. Okay, yeah, so what I'm saying is, after that...
Hold on, Gagan.
Okay, I'm sorry.
When the ANC joined the CPP, we won 6 senatorial seats. 6. That included.
So ANC as a party did not win.
Okay, since 2017, the ANC as a party have now gone to an election by herself as ANC since 2017.
That's actually incorrect.
The ANC joined a collaboration that yielded results. And that result include Darosero re-election and Yombikanga re-election in Bassa and Maserado, and also brought in 4 additional new senators. That includes the senator.
Thank you, Anthony.
Good.
I don't want us to go in that direction too much.
I
was talking about surprises.
On Mr. Coffee's point that you were making with Maryland, Grand Bassa, and the rest of the other county. So for us in the CPP, our best bet tonight, what will prepare us to be in the second round is for us to win in Grand Bassa, win in Riverside, win in River G, win Maryland County. If we pull those wins out and get accumulate votes from other counties and huge chunk of vote in Maserado County, that prepares us to be in the second round. And once we do that, no candidate can defeat us in the second round. But until then, I'll hold back my peace tonight and look at those numbers and see if we have made this stride that we targeted to begin with.
Anthony, what does winning a county mean to you? Let's take Riverside for example.
So for instance, if we're winning Grand Bassa County, we should win by 45-48% of Grand Bassa County.
So if you have 48% of the votes in Grand Bassa, mean you win Grand Bassa. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Because if we get electoral college, so let us be careful with this winning county.
One thing you gotta understand is too many political parties in the race. You cannot underestimate the Unity Party strength. You cannot underestimate the CPD strength. They will put up a fight in Grand Bassa County. But if we win the county by that margin and win River Says, win Maryland and River G, get a huge strong. If we can
I just want us to be clear.
vote,
because we live in America, so we are very accustomed to winning state, and then in Liberia we say win a county. You are saying in Grand Bassa County, CPP has 48%. The other group have 30 or 40 going down. It means CPP has won Grand Bassa.
Correct. If we can
because sometimes it's kind of misleading.
There's 165,000 plus votes in Grand Bassa. If we win by 48% or 50% in Grand Bassa, that's a huge chunk of votes, right? If we can put up 25% in Montserrat County or to 30%, that's almost 300,000 votes we're talking about. We only need 500,000 votes to be in the second round, or 450,000 votes to be in the second round. That's all we need.
Thank you. We saw there were some, I think all of you alluded to the fact that those little, things here and there, scrimmages here and there at the this polling center do not amount to, much to affect the result. But there is a tendency, or from what I saw when I was going through these videos, a lot of people are waiting for sometimes, just waiting to say somebody's cheating, right? From what you see so far, even if there is cheating or something of that sort, I saw a lady who she said she was helping people and scanning their voter registration card. And many people saw that as, oh, maybe she's trying to cheat. And I mean, she was kind of, the way she was being talked to, I was even feeling sorry for her. Is it really paranoia in these elections, or we really think that cheating is going to benefit somebody? What's your feeling concerning this whole idea of rigging or fraud or some kind of thing? Because I think people may be chasing other people for nothing who may have nothing to do with this. Who will cheating benefit in these elections?
So that is the most important thing in our election. I can speak for our election is that when you do not have poll washers, then it becomes very challenging and difficult for your vote to be protected. Once you have poll washers and they are very vigilant and they are paying attention to everything there, with their voting system we have in Liberia, I do like it. With their tally sheet, because once that tally sheet is tallied and signed by NEC and other poll watchers and observers there, and that sheet is stamped, it becomes an official document, right? And for you to just change that document is hard. But I feel sorry for the lady based on what you just explained. Again, our country is a democracy in progress. So a lot of things will be happening there, and even if you have good intentions, sometimes those intentions may not be embraced as though you want to do the right thing. So people always have this mindset of cheating. Now, if you say somebody cheated, does that incident has any significant impact on the outcome of the election? Because even if you go to the Supreme Court, the lawyers going to look at these things, the judge is going to look at these things and say, does this evidence you brought to our knowledge, have any significant impact on the total outcome of the election? If they don't find sufficient evidence to back your claim, they're going to throw your case out of court just like they did us, in 2017.
That's crazy.
Thank you, Glennie. Let's talk about cheating in these elections. Another place I saw a lady who said when she went in there, they said, well, you already voted. And she claimed she didn't vote at all, but she was already marked as voting. I saw another one where a young lady was thrown outside because she said she's 19 years old. Her mom says she's 19. And then she's saying, the vote NEC is saying you are 13. So these kind of little things here and there, who do they benefit? Do you see them as people trying to cheat, and who does that really benefit? Where does that come from?
So this is hypothetical for me, but you can relate it to the fact that if you have an incumbent in a race, the cheating is going to gravitate towards the incumbent because they want to do everything they can to win. So, and for the mere fact that you've had several elections where there were noise about people cheating and things being done. So when you ask this question now, and if there's cheating, if I am the incumbent president and I control every branch of the government, of course I'm going to do whatever I can do to be able to win it. I don't think George Weah is in there to lose. I don't think the people George Weah appointed, like Davietta Brown, is from his side. I don't think that she's there. So why it is that the elections maybe it was peaceful today, we don't know yet. I mean, there are so many things they were showing. There were one point today on Facebook where they show fake ballots. So, of course, I would think that because you have an incumbent in the race, and based on what we know from the different elections in Liberia and the cheating factor, I would think that it will be gravitated towards helping the incumbent president.
Jimmy, what you make of this whole cheating thing? It was being predicted even on this show that the elections will be rigged. Prince Johnson said that a year or two ago. He said, "I'm not even running because the election will be rigged." Now, with what we've seen so far, are we at a place here to say cheating is not possible, or is very minimal if that happens, or it's not even going to happen? Where are we with that?
Well, for me, for cheating to be of any significance, to me it has to be on a large scale. Now, if the margin is razor thin, let's say within maybe a couple of hundred votes, or maybe 1,000 or 2 votes, then those little appearances or occurrences of cheating may be significant. But if we're talking about a margin of 100,000 plus, that cheating has to be on a very large scale before it has any impact on the elections. And then who has this ability to do this? When you look at it today, have pictures of people who are allegedly making voter registrations cards. We saw people who are collecting other people's registrations cards. But I want to argue against that, because even prior to the election, there was one radio show that came on, and the radio show host had several voting cards in his hand that people had carelessly left somewhere and forgotten them. And he was announcing people to come for them. So I have seen voter registration cards mishandled, and for somebody to use them effectively to affect our it has to be on a very large scale. Large scale.
This is if you have one person over the other, you win, right? So what large are you talking about? Especially in countries like Sino, where their numbers are so small. So if you can have 2 persons cheating for you, you can win and become representative.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you have razor thin margins, then it's going to be significant. But on largely speaking, it has to be somebody who's orchestrating a large scale cheating event, and that is what we have not seen up to now.
Gakon, what do you make of this whole cheating thing? Is cheating possible in these elections, or we have a robust process?
Cheating is very possible in election in Liberia, even election here in America. The likes of our national organization, ULA, for example, the president decided not to see certain cities because he didn't have numbers there. So more than likely he wasn't going to win. So therefore he canceled the elections. Relating back to Liberia, I think, yes, we need to create, or we need to either buy some of the Domino voting machines in Liberia. You don't need electric for it to work. I have worked election commission here in Chicago, in Illinois, and transmitted the vote right after the election was conducted that same night. Those machines, when you charge them, they can go for however many hours and you can transmit the vote. It's $3,200 per machine. We need to get those machines in Liberia. People towing ballot in the night on roads that are not who guiding them, who with them. NEC is not equipped. NEC does not have the manpower to protect these voting. And then when you look at some of these tally sheets, every vote should count in Liberia. There shouldn't be no void vote or anything. If somebody went and they voted and they made an error, that vote, they need to determine that error. They need to know what that person intended to say, call that person and say who you intended to vote for. And that person, that vote need to be counted. So yes, there's massive cheating in Liberia. For example, in 2017, Mel Jones and his family and 25 other people went to a precinct, a voting district to go vote. And only 1 or 2 vote came out. So you mean to tell me that 20 people that were behind here, even his own wife did not vote for Mel Jones in that precinct? So whoever doing these tally sheets, it's crazy. Like the ones you just showed. You want to tell me out of all those votes, not even one person voted for Cummings? You got 0, you got 7. It's questionable, you know. So a lot of these things, I think it can be fixed if we try to implement some of these systems. You know, we live in a very advanced country. I think we need to coordinate with our country, the NEC, those machines. I was just trying to Google how many precincts. How can we help to buy those machines so that way we can be able to get the votes and the result the same night?
Right.
So that means the next 10 days, you know, instead of waiting to the 27th or the 25th of October.
So if we had those machines, our ballot papers inside wouldn't have gotten wet.
No, it wouldn't get wet. People don't have to carry on canoe and all kind of stuff. It just it's crazy.
Alex, you've been there in elections. How is this cheating? You know, there are people who will tell me, look, it's not possible to cheat because the poll watchers are there, the tally sheets are done, and then it goes right there. But I've seen, what do you make of this whole cheating thing? Is it likely?
Yes, it is possible, and it is also not possible. It is not possible based on the way our election situation is structured, right? I mean, provided the NEC is independent enough and get all the voter thing to the stations and people vote. And Anthony mentioned a key point with the poll watchers and stuff like that. And the way it is done, the tally sheet is voters counted and everything according to that structure. It may be difficult to cheat. However, like I said, it is also possible to cheat. Now, we saw indication of the build-up plans to do that, starting from manipulation, the attempt to manipulate the census result. There was saying that, it will favor the southeastern county where the ruling party is stronger in, but then there were efforts to thwart all that. That is why we had the situation we had with the census. There is also a possibility to do voter roll manipulation. That is why we end up in the Supreme Court to issue the FRR, which was supposed to be issued 1 or 2 days, as opposed to the September 9th, the October 19th, the September 19th schedule, right? There's also voter suppression by intimidation to get the people not to go vote, so your people go vote, so more of your people vote than other people. We saw an example in Lofa County senatorial election the last time, where in one particular district, or where voter poll watchers were not present, and voter situation was manipulated. Right?
Somewhere the devil took
the election. Coincidentally, the NEC website went down at around that same time. They announced one result, they came back and announced something else. So there's those possibility. Like I said, it's possible and it's not possible based on the way our election is structured. But it's possible when people make concerted effort to cheat.
Thank you. Blamo, there was this talk of a biometric perforating the electoral card and all these things. How all this went down today? Because it was.
Well, I believe that I would like to first touch the cheating thing. I don't think we should claim cheating as a Liberian center thing, because and what we call cheating or problem with the voting system exists all over the world. It's just that we are inexperienced in this election thing. Our political parties are not politically mature. Our people are not well educated on voter education, and our parties, we must develop a level of political maturity that will allow us to put aside our personal agenda, hate, and begin a party-to-party dialogue and build consensus and trust. And leaders engage themselves in constructive engagement, and we should accept compromise. But we go to war in our elections, and then we say we don't have the history of good elections, so we are very quick to turn to feeling that they will be cheating, and sometimes they are cheating, but sometimes we just not equipped. I don't think the biometric thing went very well, but it's a new experience, and we should give it a chance. Liberia has a history of, in the Guinness Book of Record, as having more voters ballots than the voters. But Liberia also has a history with Eli Johnny Sirleaf, where she left office. We changed president. That is not something that exists all over Africa. We are growing as a people. Now we have a competitive election where we voted today, and we don't see dead body in the streets. So our political growth, our election growth, is on the way, and we are 176 years of independence. You cannot elect the local superintendent in the counties. We select 3 people and limit our people to vote for these 3 people that came from Morovia, 3 aristocrats. So we are growing. So I think cheating shouldn't be claimed that our elections are but cheating, or the election are being rigged. I think it's a mental exercise. Our whole political culture is not at that maturity level. Our voters do not get proper voter education. We're not having dialogues. So I think all that produces feeling that the election will be rigged. That's my view.
Thank you, Blambo. Let me announce that if you want to join the conversation, it's election night, Liberia, 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. Let me bring on our first caller here. That's Elvis Morris. Elvis, what's your take? You have a minute.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jai, and hello to the other panelists, or to the panelists. I purposely didn't watch any of these in the other platforms because I wanted to only get my information from Focus on Liberia. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to have any of these, partisan platforms try to sway me in believing that the election is going this way or that way. I will call out Mr. Cuffey for a second. I saw him on Class Reloaded, a heavily partisan platform. So I think we already know which side he's on because he's already played his hand. He's a Joseph Boycott supporter. So he needs to admit it on this platform and not try to hide behind FOL that he's only representing FOL. He's obviously a Joseph Boycott supporter. And secondly, the reality
you were
is,
saying everybody on Class Reloaded, you said?
Yeah,
look,
that's true.
It's a heavily partisan platform. And we know that. We can't even argue it. And
I'm asking. I want clarification. I want clarity.
No, but we even saw from his analysis that the way he's doing it, anybody that supports Queen Johnson supporter wasn't going to win the election. Queen Johnson supporter we are in 2005 initially we had anyone. So please let's not make that assumption. Mr. Jai, you're responsible, your platform is responsible. Only result we want to see is the official net result. That's why I think this show should be like another prediction show, because nobody here should even try to sway us to think that the election is going in Weah's favor or going in Boycott's favor. The reality is MEC hasn't released the results, and nobody should come here and say, oh, by the look of things, by the look of this, what's the vote coming from the rural part of Nima County? What's the vote coming from the rural part of local? Nobody knows.
Right.
So nobody should come in and try to sway us and make it seem like one person is in the lead right now based on quote unquote numbers I've seen on Spoon or numbers I've seen on OKFM. Don't do that on this platform. Some of us specifically watch this platform so we don't get the water isn't muddy. You know, wait for the official net results and then announce those. Because these are the same things that will cause violence. When people think like the way Spoon is probably doing it, I'm not even watching it, but I'm guessing they're probably saying everything is going in Boycott's favor. So today, like how Trump was doing, you know, election night here in America, he said, "Oh, I went to sleep, I was in the lead. When I woke up, I was losing." You know, that same kind of mentality. And people say that, yeah, that's true. You know, you are leading, but then overnight they want to change all the votes, and then Trump lost. That's not how it works. When the full results come, we know who won.
So Elvis,
let's wait for next.
Elvis, let's also tell that you are a George Weah supporter.
Thank you.
Oh yes, I'm a George Weah supporter, but I'm not. That's why you see, I'm not going to Freedom FM. I'm not going to any of these platforms that I know.
No, I just wanted to full disclosure as well.
And that's why I prefer FOL, because for the most part you guys are neutral. So that's what I'm saying. Still, you know, let your neutrality show tonight when it's most needed. Don't be.
Everybody here don't share the view of your focus. So you have to allow people to speak there. You have to allow people to be individuals. You can't stop people from having their opinion, Mr. John. That's not, if he comes out and call Coffee out to be supporting GMB and forgets that he's supporting Weah, he's a Weah fanatic on every aspect of his life. You can't come here and tell us who to have opinion about and what not to have opinion on. That's not right. Whether we're on focus or not, we have opinions.
Right, and we don't stop you from sharing your opinion. He was
so we shouldn't come here and have an opinion. No, we will come here and
you have an opinion, and then the question was.
I don't think he said that.
Hold on, Alex.
Just trying to calm us up.
Hold on, Alex. We're saying we asked you the question from the exit polls and from the tally sheet that you are getting. What are you hearing? And you give your view. So that's perfectly fine, and that's what we asked you, and that's what you did. So Elvis is saying no, don't say anything. No, that's not our position. No. Let me bring on Mr. Flomo Livingstone. Flomo.
Yeah, very sure. Look, you see, that's why I have problem with Evan Brothers. He just said he hasn't watched Spoon TV. All of a sudden he said Spoon TV reporting false information. How can you tell? You didn't watch them. You don't know what.
Man, tell your own, man. Leave Elvis.
No, I was talking my own, but he can't make it. So what I'm saying is, look, the NEC, the NEC gave the final result, but how will the NEC give a final result? It comes from the polling center, the data that comes from there. Exactly. That's why they think that information is the final result. So you can't discount that. And the whole thing is when any result that comes from there is found by the poll watcher and the net official that's there and spent. So how do you say that is not important or that is not true? Look, there's some. I watched Spoon TV and in River G, what's his name? George Weah was winning. The other part, Grandfather preaching, George Weah was winning. So it's not like everything reporting is just in favor of Joe Walker. No, that's not true. No, before you criticize something, make sure you watch it and see what they are saying. For me, what I'm saying is I knew from the day one it's two-party. And I support that. I think we're going to two-party system. I support that. So the whole people can just draw. Look, this election, it is probably going to be a first-round victory for GMB or a runoff, and GMB going to win. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. And you are a GMB supporter?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Good.
I'd like to say something to Flomo before we continue. I think I agree with Flomo that this may be a runoff, but what happens in a runoff, the dynamics completely changed than in a normal full-scale election like we have today. The dynamics change. That is when real manipulation can be done, because it's only a two-man race and you got a lot of what we call swing votes now because they don't belong to anybody. So I think if this ever goes to a runoff, all bets are off. All bets are off.
Thank you.
Well, I agree. But until we get to that point, we'll see.
Thank you, Flomo.
We'll get to that people will know how to process.
Thank you, Flomo. So again, let us be clear here. The NEC is not going to announce the results until provisional results, according to the NEC schedule, will start coming up on the 12th. Today is just the 10th. So the schedule, elections is today. Announcement of provisional results start on the 12th to the 24th. And we'll have the final result on the 25th. In the absence of that, we have tally sheets, we have our own exit polls, and so we're going to be giving some preliminary results. But as of now, it's too close. It's too things are not in yet. In fact, in my hometown, there's not been one vote cast. So yeah, that's it, Mr. Coffee. You were called out. So if you have any response.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Elvis, I think the thing is, when people have a difficulty in taking up partisan hat and putting up a independent hat, I don't have that difficulty. I don't. The fact that I support somebody in this election, it doesn't mean that I cannot come here and carefully do an informed analysis based on. Now, when we were speaking about Nima County. There's not a time on this show I said anything about who's winning in this election. I have not said anything about even who's going for second round. I stated that CDC has a better chance in the Southeast, and where I analyzed county by county. So there's not on this show that I've said. So I stated that on this show, I'm representing focus on Liberia, and I have an independent mind, irrespective of my support for a particular candidate. And I'm glad that you asked the question to Elvis who he supports, and I know where he's coming from. He's coming from the CDC side of things, and I know where his angle is. So I'm not going to,
Thank you.
Yeah.
But is that true that you support the Unity Party?
I support Joseph Walker, yes.
Okay, good. But
Gakon, we can see you, man.
I don't
I
know
support
if
Joseph Walker in this election in 2020.
Gakon, we can see you. You're in the corner.
I'm looking at the list of candidates, and
I supported Georgia in 2017.
No.
And I support Joseph Walker today.
Yeah, Mr. Jao going around the room asking people for the political party, and he didn't disclose anything.
So, Mr. Ever because I'm not supporting just
no, I don't think Ever is mad. Ever just want to say,
all right,
you have a side. Unlike Mr. Jao and Anthony here on the platform.
Oh,
but however,
right.
that's what I want to say, Mr. Jao.
Hold on, Anthony. Anthony, you already said it. You already those 30 seconds you have used them to say what you wanted to say, but you
okay.
So, from what we are seeing now, and NEC is not going to announce election results tomorrow, but where do we think this is going? Anthony, let me start with you.
Look, Mr. John, as I stated earlier, if we get 50-60% of the vote in Maserado, and the number are trending as the first number that we see, and the same thing is repeating itself, Grand Bassa, River, Maryland, River G, then yes, we can say something. But until then, I'm very confident of the work that we did in Liberia from the CPP side, and I know in Maserado, in Mangibi, Grand Bassa, River Says, River G, and Maryland County, these counties that just need are areas that will do very well. However, that doesn't mean that we'll not get voted in Lima County, or we'll not get voted in Bon County, or we'll not get voted in other parts of the country. We will get votes. But what I'm telling you today...
I thought during the campaign, the CPP kind of checked out of Nimba.
No, we did not.
Oh, okay.
No, we did not. Oh, we did a lot of investment. One thing, Mr. Comey, did a lot of investment in Nima County prior to the official announcement of the campaign, right? So at that point,
he started that in 2017.
Right.
He started Radio Zoka, because
Yeah, he
in
did a
our
lot of
community
investment.
here,
That's why people don't know about Nima County. And when
no,
the
the
county was
promise,
coming out
the
of that
Nimba
county, I can get
community
lost.
here in Atlanta promised him Nimba. In fact, what we
You
were
know,
hearing that they were even
if Gonglo
promising
was
that.
not going to be in the race, we were going to be claiming Nima. But Gonglo factor, you cannot overlook it, right? So, but again, this is the reason why we are relaxed and we're waiting for the numbers, because, like I said, 10% of the vote have yet to be counted. Let alone, the remaining 90% of the votes. There are too many votes out there that have not been announced. And people should now go. Another thing people should understand, that going to the second round does not automatically make Unity Party the winner of the elections. You never know how politics plays out. And people should be very, very careful as to how they start celebrating, because right now, many of my UP friends, they're all in my inbox. Calling my phone. That's the reason why I'm able to get
I think where it was going. You're going to UP now, so let's leave that one. Glennie, where is this going?
Well, we will continue to follow all the news and all the I mean, you can't stop people from that. This is why what I don't understand. This is one reason why I continue to say I support the opposition. If we go to second rounds, if an opposition candidate goes to the second round, which I think is possible, and if that person is Joseph Boyka, no doubt I am for Joseph Boyka. Right now, what I'm seeing is we're watching, and what I can't understand is this same trend happened in 2017. We followed it. We believed in the results. We believe in the results for Dillon. So why is it now that we're saying that what is happening, we need to relax on it? People should stop being excited. People should stop giving saying that Boyka has won. Why? The same predictions were there in 2017. The same predictions are there today. Yes, we'll wait for the official result from NEC, but before NEC come, we'll be doing it. We'll be on it. We'll be following the news. Exactly. So where is it going? There will be more predictions. There will be some fake tally sheets. There will be real tally sheets coming. So we'll follow it. If NEC was going to give her results tonight, we have no reason. First of all, NEC not even going to give a result right now because they got people in South Stand got to vote first.
Right.
So my mom for that, he said NEC will get result. No, we will follow the news, we will share it, and we'll continue to predict until NEC gives us the final news.
The boxes got in by the time it got to my hometown area. There it was 6 p.m.
Yes.
So they have to vote tomorrow. And if you say we shouldn't talk about results now, then I'm out of job. This is what I do. So we're talking about it tomorrow.
Not even 10% of the votes have been counted yet. I didn't say we shouldn't talk about. If we were not talking about results, then why are we here, right?
Mr. Blambo, where is this going? What do we expect within the day or two ahead?
Well, I believe that, and we are getting closer and closer to a situation where the people will win. I believe the best message for this election should be empowerment of the people. I believe that nobody will win the first round. There will be a second round, and at the second round, political parties will come together and they will have dialogues and they will build consensus and they will begin to have compromise. And I think that's the right direction for the Liberian people, for people to win. This idea of a messiah, we having one man who he will win and rescue this country. If Ellen Johnny said he couldn't rescue this country with billions, with vision and education in 12 years, I don't believe there will be one single candidate that will be doing that in 6 years. All over the world, the only place where you have one man leading those countries is in China, Russia, and North Korea. We have to believe in the people. Only the people can be the change that they need. So at the end of the day, Liberians have to develop the political will and the political maturity for us to have compromise in this country and put our nation first. I think that's where we're heading.
All right.
So I beg you, Dennis. I beg you. I really beg you. I want to come after Mr. Mulva.
Don't go after him. You can share your view.
Okay, I want to share my view.
Okay.
So the thing about it is, what I'm hearing him say is, so when he's saying the political parties will come together to do what? The political parties, when they go to the second round, will come together to say what? To support we are?
No, to support one candidate.
Oh, and that candidate will not be we are.
But you don't know. You don't know where it's going to go.
Not based on his record. I'm saying what I think, and he's saying his view. I think Mr. Mulva continues.
Why are you calling him Mulva?
Mr. Blamo. Mr. Blamo, I'm sorry.
Mr. Blamo from Sasta.
Okay, yes. I knew he was crew man the way he was going around with it. You know the crew people that can go around with the English and deviate from the fact and try to sway us. But I'll bring it right back because my mom crew.
That's stereotype. You're gonna get in trouble.
My mother is crew, so I'm also crew. So let me stereotype myself. What I'm saying to you is you can't limit the potential of what Liberian people have galvanized to do. We all saw the different rallies. We all saw people come out, and you cannot forget the record that President Weah is running on.
Glennie, are you saying Weah is not going? If Weah goes into the second round, there is no out of the 19 political parties, now one of them will support him. Is that what you're saying?
There may be some, even the one that was up. Of course, there will be some that will support.
Right. I think that's what Blamo is saying.
The pizzazz that George Weah have, there's possibility they will support it. But I want you to quote me tonight. If George Weah goes to the second round with Boyka will win him. He will not win.
Hey, John, let me come in. Allow me to come in.
I can say it. That's my opinion.
Okay,
okay, we gave you your opinion, but people are afraid of the fact that Prince Johnson going to be too close to the presidency.
Where Prince Johnson?
Hold on, Glennie. Anthony, let me put you on record because we have heard that CPP is going to support Weah. Some people have suggested that. Is that where you are leaning?
Mr. On that particular question, I plead the fifth tonight.
All right.
So let me can I add to that? So this is my anger with ANC. ANC is not principle minded. It's not a principle minded party. They sat there in 2017, challenged and joined Joseph Boakai, went to the court, sat through the proceeding, did all of that, and did not endorse Joseph Boakai. More than likely, they're not going to do it again in the run. If there is a run-up, they're not going to do it again because ANC and his, I don't know, they can call themselves CPP or whatever they want to call themselves. They are not principle-minded. So now we all in the opposition. We want to remove George Weah, and then you have Anthony Gay on here saying he pleaded fifth. They're not a principle-minded party.
That's not an accurate statement. According to our party, now a principle-minded party. Because we say the same thing. Okay.
Hold on, Blamo.
Yeah.
So Gagon, I want you to end with
a Prince Johnson.
I want you to end with this, Gagon. Where do you think this is going within the next 2 to 3 days?
Yeah, I mean, more than likely, yes, of course. I mean, no one can win one round victory in Liberia. You know, I know when I asked that question by Prince Johnson, because he is a heavyweight when it comes to the Liberian body politic, but it will go in the second round. More than likely, all of these other parties going to go behind the ruling party. More than likely, President George Weah will be reelected if Joseph Boakai numbers are not significantly high enough to where in the second round to win the election. More than likely, all of them are going to support Joseph Boakai George Weah because everybody wants some type of benefit from the president. So I think more than likely George Weah will be the next president of Liberia.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, there is a good side of this election, whether who wins, and that is Liberian people are being trained in elections. Their political consciousness is getting higher and higher. Absolutely. Because they have to go now. Initially they voted. Let's go back to Ellen. They voted Ellen, who was the Harvard grad and all. And at the end of her tenure, they were so bemused and disenchanted that they voted for someone completely different and rejected her ruling party and voted for somebody who was from humble beginnings, would go from rags to riches. He was a success story, but he didn't show an iota of experience in managing and running a company. I mean, a country. So here he is. He voted. Now they saw that experiment. So what happened to that experiment? Now they got to think again. So, oh, well, that didn't work out. And now you see them coming out in more numbers because these heavy turnout look like they trying to change things a lot. That's what a lot of times these indication. So now they're trying to change things, but what are they changing it to? You see, even if VP Buckeye wins, his administration will teach Liberian people again something. Say, well, yeah, he was a mature guy, but look at what happened. I'm not saying what happened. I cannot look at a crystal ball and tell you what happened. But the thing is, we are learning how to exercise our political.
Are you saying VP Buckeye is going to win?
Am I saying he's going to win? No, I'm not saying that at all. Yeah. I think that and when it goes to a runoff,
let's go into the next 2 to 3 days. Let us not go far beyond 2024. So what you see?
In the next 3 days, I see it as a runoff coming down. That's all I can say. There's going to be a runoff. Between right now, from what I'm looking at the tally, it's between CDC and UP, unless something surprising can happen with CPP in the other counties. It looks like it's going to be between the two of them.
Right, and the counties that Anthony is calling for the CPP, they are very small counties. But let me go to Alex. Mr. Coffee, what do we expect to see within the next 2 to 3 days? Where is this thing going?
Yes, so again, I will base my analysis on this one based on the figures, historical figures, right? And then what is happening now, okay? Now, I see this race, first of all, as a 3-horse race between CDC, UP, and ANC. I keep calling it ANC because I thought they should have maintained their ANC. Okay, that's a brand new.
Now that's official.
Yeah, no, but the party is ANC. There's the CTPP thing that just collaboration. So I'm sure they will come back to the ANC name later on. So I see this as a 3-horse race. Now, let's look at ANC. ANC is going to come in the 3rd place as a distant 3rd. They're going to peak, like I said, they're going to peak votes in a lot of places. Maryland, River G, Nimba, Bassar, they're going to peak votes all over the place. But that will be enough to put them to the 3rd place, right? So therefore, some people are saying, oh, they will go first round. CDC people are arguing that they will win first round. Unity Party people are arguing that they will win first round. But I see this election most likely going to a second round between Unity Party and CDC. The reason why I say that is in 2005, CDC got 28%, Unity Party got 20% of the vote when CDC was in their heydays. In 2011, with Totmont on the ballot, CDC got 32.7% and Unity Party got 42% because, even though with Totmont, but because Unity Party, Ellen in her first term, especially her first 4 or 5 years, she did well. So that was a referendum. So that's, even at that, she could stay, nobody could win. And mind you now, because Prince Johnson was in the race with 12% of the vote, so he pulled that down. So again, then come to 2017, CDC got, after Ellen not doing so well in her last term, CDC got 38% of the vote and Unity Party got 29% of the vote. Now, at that time, George Weah has not served as president, so we did not know Now that we know what his performance and all that, so this election will be based will be a referendum on his performance, but it's going to the second round, I think, and whoever wins the first round, whoever comes on top in the first round, is more likely to win in the second round, in the runoff.
Let me ask you this: do you think, let's say, if based on your analysis, if Walker and Weah go into this runoff, do you see the many of the opposition political parties coalescing around Walker?
And let me say this again.
Too much?
Let me say this again. This is irrespective of my support for Joseph Boakai. I'm just looking at the numbers and what is happening, and some of the exit polls that I'm hearing. If Joseph Boakai comes on top in the first round, there's a likelihood. It's a normal phenomenon. There's a likelihood he might have one or two parties might go, but there's a likelihood that he might have most of the endorsement.
You think CPP will endorse him?
I don't think they will.
I don't see CPP, ANC and probably not Gomblo. I don't see CPP. I think 2017 will repeat itself. I don't see CPP endorsing anybody.
Tomorrow we're going to take a break and go to the history. Mendy, King of Manu, will be on the Liberia History Channel tomorrow at 7 p.m. And we will find time at 8 or 8:30 to still talk post-elections politics. So you want to join us tomorrow. About then, we'll have more talent sheets. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've done for the night. Let me get your closing for 49 seconds each, starting with Mr. Garcon Moe. Garcon, your closing.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come on and talk with fellow Liberians. We're glad that Liberians back home did not fall for the scare tactics about war, and they showed up to the election, to the polls, and they voted. I think it shows that they do want to be a part of the government. They do want to help make decisions. As NEC tally all the votes, we're hoping that they can be more expedient with it and be able to produce the actual results. And we're hoping for the best for Liberia. Whomever win, let us all work with the government instead of criticizing. And because, like I said, the government needs a lot of formation, a lot of challenges with the government. And I'm hoping for the best. Hopefully, if it's Joseph Boakai, if it's George Weah, if it's Alexander Cumming, or whomever, we will be here to work with the leadership in Liberia.
You want to apply?
No, I'm not applying.
All right. Brandy, your closing.
Great show, Dennis. It's always good to be a part of talking about Liberia. That's where our passion is. We are Liberians first. We'll continue to watch to hear from NEC, but we'll also follow the trends that we followed also in 2017. Just to echo what Mr. Gargon said, whoever wins the election, I believe that this election is a referendum and should be used as such. So thank you for being here. Thank you to the other panelists. It's good being here, being the only woman tonight. Especially, I'm excited. Let me end with this saying that especially that the registered number of women voters this year were more than men. And we will become the deciding factor in the Liberian elections this 2023.
But Glendy, that would depend on the turnout, right? What if?
Yes, and let me tell you, I told somebody yesterday, the thing about women, we hold grudges, and when we are upset about something, we will go after it. I can tell you that when everything is tallied and the winner is announced, the women votes will be significant based on what we see.
Mr. Blamo, you're closing. Thank you, Glendy.
It's always a pleasure to be on the show. And I believe that good elections are directly linked to the independence of our judiciary, competitive media, and in an environment where the civil service and the civil society is involved in public life, and the political landscape that allows for free expression of diverging views. And we have to stop this victory where the winner takes all. We have to learn to consider the possibility of a compromise. And we must develop a level of political maturity that will allow us to put aside our personal agendas, our hate, and begin party-to-party dialogue and build consensus and build trust among political leaders. And the civil society group must help the political process through voter education so that we don't throw rhetoric at the people and they don't know what to do with it, and they're trying to kill themselves because of the lack of political growth and immaturity. Only the people can be the change we seek. Nobody will win this election, but we have an opportunity here to create a new Liberia. If we can come together, regardless of our political parties, our religions, our tribe, and come up with a compromised leadership strategy that will move this country forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Coffey.
Yes. Once again, I mean, thank you, as always, being on Focus on Liberia and being on this part of the show. And thanks to everybody on the panel, and thanks for everybody listening. I think this election was good. I give up praises to Liberians. Our democracy is growing. 4 elections now, and we're doing well. I'm hoping that we will also begin to build political institutions around institutions rather than around individuals. All right. I see I'm not a Unity partisan, even though I support Joseph Boakai, but I see Unity Party has stood the test of time from election to election. So they're growing. I see CDC also started 2005, and they're growing. CDC has to be tested out of, because Unity Party has been tested out of being the presidency. So let me see what happens if CDC, if Georgia wins this election, 6 more years, let me see what happens, CDC as an institution. I see ANC also coming. That's why I like the ANC thing rather than the CPP thing, because I believe in the institution. I hope our institution will grow. But more importantly, I'm hoping that this election will be the beginning, will be the bridge towards a younger breed of Liberians. A younger breed of Liberian, that whole generational change thing will begin to happen. We've been having this conversation since 2002, but this is a right time so that come 2029, if Joseph Boakai win, let him pass it on to the more younger people.
So wins, to conclude,
let the more younger people go on. That's my statement.
Thank you. What will a George Weah win represent, and also what will a GNB win represent to you in 30 seconds?
A George Weah win will continue on the same trajectory that we on. And I believe there will be an element of retrogression.
And then a Boakai win will be what? Will mean what?
If Boakai wins, there will be a change.
So Boakai represent change and we represent retrogression. Thank you.
That is so deep.
But more importantly, I will see as an opportunity for a younger breed of people to begin to take over in 2029.
And Young has in Jeremiah. And Young has in Jeremiah count.
No, I didn't say Jeremiah count. No, I didn't say. Don't pick that one from my mouth. I didn't say that.
Jimmy, let me get your closing. Jimmy, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm sorry about it. It's been a very good show tonight. And here's my take on this thing. To me, these elections is when you trying to qualify for the team to wear the jersey. If you win the election, that means you qualify, you can put on the jersey. But the real work starts when you go on the field to go play. And that is when the work begins. Unfortunately, I think this past administration did not understand that a game is played when you put on a jersey. That you come and go play the real game now. And they thought they were still trying for jersey. The jersey time had passed. It was time to play the game. So just what Coffee was saying, we're talking about now building institutions. We're talking about a whole something, and even Blamo was saying this. We're talking about bringing the nation up to another level now. Mm-hmm. You now win it now. Let's see, can you do it? So, Liberian people, as they have learned before what not working, now they're going to try this. If this doesn't work again, we will get it right one day. But they have to.
Same question I asked Coffee. What will a Boakai win represent, and what will
a Boakai, for me, it's up in the air because he will have to appoint people because he I believe he'll be limited for various reasons.
When a Boakai wins, what are the voters saying to us?
What, the voters? Oh, the voters themselves. They want to change.
And
they want change.
Thank you. Just a reminder, does anybody remember this?
Oh, yes.
Where is it now? Any idea?
Dennis.
Anthony, you're closing. Anthony, do you know what I just showed?
I didn't see it, but it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Natala McGee model article.
All right.
So let me say this, right?
You're closing.
I like the fact that you did not push back with Mr. Coffee, right? The JMB president say if he wins the election, does not represent change. Mm-hmm. Part of the reason why people like us never went his route is because we believe that he's not an agent of change, even a vice president. And another thing,
already CPP. So how could you have gone his route?
All right.
Here's the thing. Mr. Ja, is that you hear it clearly from Mr. Coffee tonight.
You know you can fool me.
They just want to win an election. They don't want Jeremiah Count to be the face of the Unity Party. You just heard it from him tonight.
I'm not a Unity partisan, please.
I'm not saying you are a member of the party, but many within the Unity Party, they don't see Jeremiah Coon to be the face of the party. They see Jeremiah Coon as a conduit to get to the presidency because of his county of origin. And this is a clear deception to the Liberian people. This man is young, and he should be the face of your party. If JMB is no more, who should be the face of your party? That's the problem right there. But we are not here to campaign.
Right. Conclude.
And you think coming the Nazi Bromskin because he wanted Bassa vote, right?
No, she can be the face of our she will be the face of the CPP because she's young and she's very likable within the CPP. Since her nomination, nobody have even come in a group that will say nothing like that.
Anthony, the first consideration because he wanted to win. He wanted to win a county. That's an attempt.
No. She's very beloved.
Let's
no. Then you argue for Jeremiah Kuhn as well.
Very well.
Then somebody will argue for Jeremiah Kuhn as well, Anthony. Let's be fair now.
Listen, you just made it clear here tonight that Jeremiah Kuhn will not be the face of the Unity Party, and this view. Many people within the Unity Party share that very same view. So I will conclude by saying we remain optimistic until the votes are counted. And then somebody said, Grand Bassa candidate vote is smaller than small candidate. Grand Bassa have over 160,000 votes. That's not small votes.
Anthony, let me add that same question I asked what will a Boakai win represent? What will a Wea win represent?
Look, if Waka wins this election, we should embrace ourselves as Liberian. It's not going to be any different from George Weah. It's not going to make any headways than George Weah. That will be a sad time for Liberia.
What's about George Weah? If George Weah wins?
The George Weah win is just like staying to the same place. George Weah will have no obligation to finish any project because he will be a lame duck president. Why
you
would
think,
he want
you
to
think a George Weah win will be worse than a Bwaka win?
I think so. George Weah win would be worse than a Bwaka win, or maybe more of the same of Bwaka. I mean, what's different between the two?
Thank you.
They're not the
Then,
same. They're two different
30
people.
seconds to conclude. You can conclude now.
So I want to say tonight here that we remain optimistic until all the votes are counted in the various counties. We believe within the CPP that Maserado County will come heavily for us if we can pull up to 28-30% of the vote in Maserado County alone before Grand Bassa, River Says, Maryland, and River G. Trust me, we will be in the second round.
Thank you. Duncan, I want to be fair. Actually, that same question, what will a Bwaka win or a Weah win represent? And let me add a Cummings win.
A Cummings win. Oh, man. Yeah, Cummings running his party on hope. And that's a wrong business strategy. You cannot hope against it if. You know, you got to know this with a certain degree of certainty. But what would a Bwaka, to me, as I think Bwaka doesn't represent change. To me, I'm just hoping that the name George Weah wins, and so he can just lead the Liberian body politic. Because if he doesn't win, he's going to come back again. Then it's just going to be a repetitive thing. So a Bwaka win does not represent change. Weah win, everything remains the same, and everything will be very mediocre. Whatever that's going on right now is going to continue until his term is continues. That's how I see it.
Blamo?
I believe I closed. Remember? Oh, the question?
Yeah, the question. Because I
the question. Yeah, I really want to be sincere. I like Uncle Joe, but with all sincerity, I cannot understand his message. I didn't understand his deviation from his role as vice president and the responsibility that he seems to didn't embrace. And so I don't know how it will be a change. And then I agree with the ANC guy. And Cole is not going to be the face of UP. So it's a difficult thing. How are we going to elect the president on the basis of let's just win? So that I cannot stand that and say that Joe Barker will be a party of change. My situation with CDC is that CDC missed the boat. They had a message, empowerment of the people. John Weah should remember what brought him to power and embrace that message and empower the people. So and that's something that is troubled me. So my fight now is that the people will win. And I'm thinking that when it comes down to a political compromise between these political giants, I know it never happened in history before, but these three men could sit down and put something else in front of themselves, the country.
Who the three men?
George Weah, and Cummings, and Barker. It never happened before, but it's possible. And the fact that if they don't win the election, it will force a compromise. And not three men, 4 men, Gonglo. So in the situation of a compromise, I am praying that they come to the table and give up some of their give and take.
Thank you.
And create a new Liberia, a new direction for Liberia. That is my feeling.
Thank you. Well, Blendy and the gentlemen, I want to say thank you tonight for being with us on a Tuesday night. I appreciate your time. We also want to thank our viewers and even those who will watch later. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Until then, we end with our song that says, whoever wins, we are all Liberians. Yep. Have a good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home.